Warning, the following video contains spoilers.
Look, a rotten banana! This apple has mold! This milk expired 3 months ago! That's disgusting!
You were warned!
Hello and welcome to my corner of the internet! I don't know Hello and welcome to my corner of the internet. I don't know how you got here, but you're not leaving. Not without some guts. So, hey. It's been a while. I can see you've changed a lot over these 6 months. You might also notice that the wall has changed a lot as well. It's not as colorful. That is because I'm very glad to announce that I finally moved from one corner of my room to the other. And before you ask, yes, that did take 6 months. This desk is very heavy, okay? I think my head was cut off for that. You guys see my head now? So I decided to make my dramatic comeback to YouTube by reviewing the new Spider-Man movie. That's like, I don't know, 2 months old. See, I, like most people, wait, hold on, let me rephrase that. I, like most people, was bitten by the arthropod that caused Spider-Man fever. Oh, the beauty of commas. In fact, me and the group of people I went with drove literally over an hour to go to one of those theaters with the reclining chairs because Marvel movies only come out once a generation, so you have to make it special. Also, a quick side note on those reclining chairs. Sure, they recline, but at what cost? Comfort. That was the answer there. If you said your soul, you were very wrong. Also, you probably shouldn't offer that up so easily. Let me pull a Bob Ross and paint a bit of a picture for you. So there I was, seat reclined, enjoying my pretzel bites that I was overcharged for. Because you see, the theater I went to had pretzel bites for $5, okay? And then a drink was $7. Or you can order a combo meal, which is a drink and pretzel bites, for $16.99. You know, $5 more. My friend that was standing with me in line pointed this out right when we got to our seats, so thanks for noticing. Way too late. Guys, I don't want to scare you, but there's this disease that's been spreading around the world and it looks really serious. Yeah, we know. You know? Yeah. It's been going on for like 2 years. 2 years? Oh, wow. Didn't you find it weird that everyone was wearing masks? I just thought we all got self-conscious. What about all the talk that's been going on about vaccines? Oh, is that what they were talking about? I thought they said vacations. No! Literally the exact opposite of that. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, guys. I really dropped the ball here, all right? I'm gonna just go. What an idiot. Tell me about it. Guys, I think the stock market just crashed. Now, I really don't want to go into a whole lot of detail about the entire movie. I really only want to focus on the ending. Because let's be honest, giving your movie a beginning, middle, and an end is a little pretentious, even for Disney. There is just one thing I want to get out of the way really quickly. Was I the only one that feel like they might have backpedaled on MJ's character? Just a little bit. There's no way to say this without sounding stupid, so just another sentence for me, I guess. But it almost felt like MJ was too in love with Peter. You know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense? Can you be too in love with something? Don't answer that, Chris. And this is coming from a hopeless romantic, alright? I love stories. For the same reason people love seeing superpowers, alright? It's never gonna happen to me, but it doesn't hurt to dream. Now I know it's normal for people to change once they get into relationships, but it just feels like they dialed it up so much in this movie to the point where she kind of just felt like a totally different character. And I wouldn't be so critical of this if it wasn't for the fact that the only reason they did that was so that way the ending felt more sad. My name's Barbie. My name's Ken. In a way, I guess it kind of makes sense though, because you can't really have MJ being all MJ like, oh, Green Goblin? That's cool. Oh, an octopus man? That's cool. Oh, electricity? That's cool. Oh, the Statue of Liberty's falling and I'm gonna get crushed to death? That's cool. I think Ned's character was fine. I mean, he's the comic relief. He served his role. Usually films don't do much with these kinds of characters, so I'm really glad that they gave Ned a kind of a bit of an arc, almost. I feel like the idea of having all 3 Spider-Mans on screen at once was a good idea on paper, but I just feel like they could have done so much more with it. Everything after they were introduced into the movie just kind of felt a bit rushed. And I think the reason for that is that this movie just tried to do way too much, and everything just felt a bit lost. But again, I feel like this is one of those criticisms I wouldn't really have of this movie if it wasn't for the way that it ended. And speaking of the ending, oh yeah! Isn't that one of those things that YouTubers use so that way they can transition from topic to topic in a video in an almost seamless way? Oh. I guess they literally meant a segue. All the characters get their minds erased and forget that Peter Parker exists. Almost like it was all a dream. Not only is this an overused, done-to-death ending, but it's also a big slap in the face to anyone who watched the other two movies. It's like Marvel basically saying, oh, you know these movies that you spent your hard-earned money to see and spent time getting invested into the story and the universe and all these quirky characters? Look at Ned dropping the Lego. We're just gonna Thanos snap that out of existence. Yeah, you know, just take the last few years and just because we're literally all the way back to square one. Yeah, sure, Peter's changed and grown as a character, but he can't be the only one. Let me ask you an honest question. What is Ned and MJ's arc in this movie? Is it really just as simple as, I wanna go to college? Me too. We can't go to college because we know Spider-Man. Who's Spider-Man? Now we can go. I think what honestly really gets me about this movie is that the ending is just so unsatisfying. The second that Peter started talking about erasing people's minds, you pretty much already knew how it was gonna end. But I was still sitting there in my reclining chair, my little feet up, and I do mean little, alright? Size 8.5. And I was holding my breath, just hoping that I was wrong. Because you know how often I'm wrong in life? This was the one time I wasn't. The only time, arguably, in my life that it mattered. But I did for a little bit think I might have been wrong because it did seem like they were planting seeds that Ned and MJ were going to be vital to Peter Parker later on down the line. I honestly thought that's why they gave Ned Doctor Strange's brass knuckles. I don't really watch superhero movies other than Spider-Man, so please don't hurt me. It did seem like they gave Ned that power so that way he can grow more confident and grow beyond just being Spider-Man's goofy friend. Like when Doctor Strange found out that Ned was using his powers and he was actually doing an okay job with them, he looked pretty impressed. Like there was your chance right there. It's like if your crush came up to you like, I wish I had a date to the prom. Wow. She's so beautiful. Ask her to go with you. Come on, go ask her. What's the worst she could possibly say? Too bad you're ugly. Well, you're 17 and I can see you're not gonna need me anymore. Sense of reasoning, wait! Yeah, I'm out too. Oh, great. Reasoning and morals just jumped out the window. Well, I guess there's only one thing to do now. Look, there's definitely going to be another Spider-Man, alright? It's been pretty much all but confirmed. However, now they've written themselves into a bit of a roadblock. On the one hand, they can spend the first half of the next movie with Peter trying to form a new friendship with Ned and MJ, or even trying to convince them to remember him, which means we'll spend the first hour of the next movie trying to get to where we were on the last hour of this movie. Bye-bye, common sense. Not to mention that would just completely contradict the whole message of this movie. But then again, if you decide not to do that, who's gonna be your supporting characters in the next movie? Happy doesn't remember Peter, and I'm assuming the Avengers don't remember him either. The only person that wasn't affected by the memory wipe was Aunt May. Cause she's dead. So what are they gonna do? Just introduce an entire new cast of supporting characters? Cause that's a recipe for disaster. All right, let's see. We have 1 cup of milk, 1 stick of butter, and 1 pound of Ricardo's flesh. What's this recipe for again? I thought it looked familiar. There is a third option though, and that's end it. Maybe there won't be a 4th Spider-Man movie. And maybe when Marvel people talk about Tom Holland playing Spider-Man again, they mean in smaller cameo roles in other Marvel movies. This to me is the worst option, but it's also the most realistic, which would mean this was the end of Ned and MJ's story. And that's just such a shame because they deserved a much better send-off. It's sad to say, but I really don't see myself ever rewatching this trilogy. Which is a shame because the first two movies were great, especially the visual fights in the second movie. Oh my god, I swear I cried. When you end a trilogy like this, you leave very little reason to ever want to rewatch it. Because why would you get invested in a story if you know it has no payoff? Look at the original Star Wars trilogy, for example, alright? The reason why people continue to go back to it even all these decades later is because they know what they're watching has a meaning. They know that these characters, even the side ones, have a purpose. They know that the world has consequences. There's jeopardy. What these characters do and say is permanent, because there's no magic reset button at the end that you can just press and then everything goes back to normal. Like imagine if in Return of the Jedi, Han and Leia get diagnosed with early onset dementia and we just see Luke walking off into the distance with a smug smile on his face like, "You did good, Luke. That brain damage was for their own good." When comparing this to other trilogies, the Spider-Man Home trilogy, it just has to be one of the worst. And that's just a real shame. I guess just let it be a lesson. When it comes to trilogies, it's not always about the journey, because sometimes the destination can ruin the way you look back on a trip.
Spider Pig, does whatever a Spider Pig does.
I'll take your entire stock!
My name is Peter Porker.
Spider-Ham, friendly neighborhood Spider-Ham. Spins a web, that's the gig. Kinda weird cause he's a pig. Look out, here comes the Spider-Ham.
Blam out!
Life is a plate of bacon when trouble's in the making.